Hello, everybody. How you doing? Yay! Live stream time. Let's see if I come over here to this page. Let's change the pitch. Oh. It's an octave off. Oh, I'm got to attempt it. How you doing? Hey, welcome. Where's everybody at? I don't see anybody in the chat. Huh. Well, join up and say hello. It's 1 o'clock, right? This is when we start the live stream. Yeah. So we're happening. Let's see what's happening here. Large tornadoes. Not good. If you live where there's tornadoes, oh my gosh. Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome to the live stream. Yay. Hey, so we have a new library. It's out. Let's jump right into it. This is Groove Summit. Now, if I have this like this, I guess you can see the artwork like that. Hello from Tucson. Hi, Mark. Hi, Brent, Mr. Trolls. Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. So the new library is out. I'm thrilled. I've never made a library with 990 patches. So it's a first. Hey, Luigi. Good to see you, man. Hey, it's nice to see some happy names. This is awesome. Hey, Glenn. Waking up at the birds at 6 a.m. in Melbourne, Australia. Oh, my gosh. You guys, man. Getting up at 6. I can't even imagine that because I've never done this. Yesterday for Thursday, I didn't go to bed. I worked all day Wednesday, all Wednesday night, all day Thursday. I've never done an all-nighter, like a pure all-nighter. Like I sat here watching the sun kind of creeping in out of the blinds of my room here and stuff like that. It's just... So this is Groove Summit. It is a crazy library. Came out just rather insane. It has a fun concept. I wanted to, when you've made, trolls, you know this. As you make so many libraries, you have to keep challenging yourself with new things to make it exciting and fun and stuff like that. So for this library, let's appreciate some grooves for a minute. Oh, I don't have anything. Like I said, there's going to be an update to this library in about 2 weeks. A lot of the macro knobs, when I'm making these big complex grooves, sometimes I have time. Like this one here, I didn't even do any of the knob assignments the way that I want them to be. So that's one thing that will get doubled up and fixed. So it's cool when they work. See, the filter's not working on this one. So especially the summits, because this is where it's combining everything. If we go down here to the different grooves, if you go to Camp 3 to the drums and stuff like that, these are all working so that we could go like, here's cool. So there's 3 camps. Camp 3 is maybe my favorite because it's drums, like drum kits. And I have a couple fun videos I can show you. Check this out. So like, is it this one? Double click so it opens up. Open. There we go. So this is my curtains into the rest of my house. And if you open my curtains right now, I have set up the drum kit that I sampled. Right where I sampled it. So this is the Yamaha Power V set that I bought Halloween night last October. And that's what this is. This is what you're hearing is this drum kit. Let's see, I have some other videos that I did that are kind of fun. Let's see, this is where I'm giving you a tour of the kit. So let's play that one. I was going to put this in my video, but I realized after I recorded it that I don't have anybody here helping me, and I cut off my head. But I talk about the kit.
To start with, you have your left hand and right hand playing typically the cymbals with your right hand.
I wanted to give people a lot of you guys don't know how to play drums. You haven't been around a drum set. All of these are set up so that if you turn off the MIDI box, it's a general MIDI mapping. Got the pedal, all the hi-hat. You got the side stick on C sharp. So there's 7 different drum kits in the library. So any of these in the Camp 3 that you go to, if we call it the Snappy group, let's find the Dead group. I love the Dead High. This kit 7 is just absolutely incredibly cool. Let's see, where is like, well here, let's play this. Oh, that's here's a Dead Low kit. I got this cool side stick tonk. That snare is this snare right, where are you at? This guy. It's a DW snare. Big 7-inch maple body, incredible sound. So this is it tuned down, or actually, yeah, down, so it's a low pitch. And then I also have it tuned up, right? I tuned it up, and that's like this for this vibe. And again, turn off the general MIDI, the little MIDI sequence. There's a China, a splash, and a crash, and then the 2 rides. So let's start at the top because there's 5 camps. The concept being that there's a mountain you're climbing, and on camp 1, this is the very beginning of the bottom of the mountain. So we have these really cool loops. I should also show you really quick, just on the website. I always forget to do promotion and stuff like that. But if you go to PluginGuru.com, and let me tell this stuff here, bookmarks never show. Right here, it's the very first thing that shows up on the site. Groove Summit, just click that. And here's the library. It's a $129 library because I've worked my butt off since October on it. And there's 2,500 samples. There's over 450 MIDI files of grooves I have made. It's epic. It's crazy. Wait till you see everything that's in this library. There's 5 camps. So here's the 5 camps. Heartbeat loops, breakbeat loops, acoustic drum loops, synth drums, like all sorts of drum sounds that I made from scratch. Camp 5 is 17 acoustic percussion instruments, and finally the summer where they all get together and they have fun and play. So this group right here, we've released a number of libraries with the European Sound Collective, Bernie and Heinrich, Fred Nongot's part of the team over there. They're a European family, and I think some of them will be in the chat here and stuff like that. Love the summit. Cool, Marcel. Yeah, the summit's where it's really fun. I mean, but these by themselves, there's 75 loops here in Camp 1. That could be a library by itself. So you have to realize how there's 5 libraries in one product. So $129 is actually, considering I've been seeing my Instagram feed of drum loop libraries. All these people, there's somebody that did like they acquired a whole bunch of drum machine samples from like 26 machines, and they're putting it to retail like $1,200. I'm like, what? You know, sampling drum machines is the most basic, simple thing on the planet. Make drums from scratch, dude. Come on. But anyway, so one of the members of the team, in fact, I can go over here and show you. I've done this before. If we go to Omnisphere, let's call it up. This is the library. I think you can find it at the Triple Spiral Audio website. My friend Yop, that runs Triple Spiral Audio, is a really nice company. I speak nicely of all companies. I love everybody. Down here, if we go heartbeats, right here, ESC. So this is the organization of that one library. There's 150. If you call up one of these, he's using some rather interesting things. He's using the granular engine and then an LFO that's been set. Let's see, which LFO is he using? Like we could go through, so what he's done is he's using granular to go in and play do kind of interesting things, but it's using granular to cycle through it and play parts of it. I'm not doing that. That's not the way that I use the library. I took all these drum loops that he'd made and I'm licensing them from him, so he's getting a... And it's playing the whole thing, but I've recycled it. So it's now a MIDI file playing. And if we get the keyboard back up here so you can see. Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay, go back to here. Let's see. Now, if we're playing this, there's a crazy... This is the group 7 to 15. So I'm going to actually go down to the drum menus to show you this really quick because I have graphics to show you with this too. If you go to the drum menus at the end of the list, for the grooves 7 to 15, let's show it on this keyboard. You can see all of the loops. We put them all on one keyboard. So here's the samples. I'm going to transpose it up an octave so I can... So those are the samples that were used to make that groove. But they're part of a team with all these other congas, and there's another groove down here. I put them all on maps like this so that you can make sequences with these that are really cool. That's one of the things I want to be doing for the bonus. So you know, there's 990 patches in this. I'm giving myself 2 weeks to play and have fun and do other things with the library. So let's see if we're in the 7s. So like if we go Conga State, that's all the samples. If you turn off MIDI box, you're in the middle of the range right here, right? So that's one groove. And then you go to Great Cloud. Those, let's see, turn off MIDI box. And if we go above the congas, then I got to transpose up a keyboard. So here's the samples that were used for this groove right here. So if I play this, that's what it's doing. So there's 75 in Camp 1 that are just kitschy, cool, quirky, unique, fun drum loops. Hey, Don, Keith, Alchemist Recording, Bobox, Vendor, all you guys, welcome. Glad to see you. So everybody's slow today. That's funny because usually there's a bunch of you guys here by now, but it's kind of a slow day at the office. Anyway, Camp 1 is all these really cool drum loops. Camp 2 is breakbeats. I chopped up a whole bunch of breakbeats and picked out my favorite samples and put them across the keyboard. So if you turn off the MIDI box, I like this. So I have all these pieces, and then I made new MIDI files using that map. So there's, and of course, the power of UNIFY is you can go UNIFY layers, choose something from layer 1. Start layering. so easily to play with it. So that's just 2 of the camps for the breakbeat loops. And let's add one more, like maybe Giddy Poppy. So you don't know what you're gonna create when you start just clicking, because it's... Oh, I'm an hour early from outside of the US. Oh my gosh. Right. How funny. We had daylight savings last week on Sunday. That makes sense. Okay, so everybody's gonna show up in 45 minutes, right? What do I do in a case like that? Do I delay it or make it another hour later? Hey, Dubes, good to see you, man. So you can make kitschy, cool breakbeats all day long with this stuff, right? Now, Camp 3 is, like I said, well, I love all these camps. I can't say I have a favorite because they're all cool in different ways. This is the ambient hip hop kit. And I have a video I can show you. I think is this one right here. No, this is a jam I did with the kit when I had it set up here. Before I sampled it, I set it up and just playing it. Because I can play drums.
So just having fun. Check this out.
Right, so that's kind of fun stuff. There's a video. Where is it at? I must have put it somewhere else. I had a video of me when I recorded the ambient drum kit. Let's do this. I'm going to go over and look on this hard drive here. Go over here to the videos real quick. It'll take it a second. I have SSD hard drives, but my 8 terabyte backup is a slow spinning drive, so it's back to the old school days of waiting while it spins up. Let's see here if I can get to dates modified. Yeah. Oh, and that was before I did this. This is Wally Poly. Let's see this. Go kind. That's Hannah when we went to here. This is cool. This is when we went to Mono Lake last fall. And here we are at Mono Lake. We did some photography. Me and my kid out with our cameras having a good time. If you've never been to Mono Lake, it's the coolest place. There's all these huge...
Is this where we go?
Mineral stalagmites and stuff that are in the water. It doesn't have flowing in water.
Trying to do video while walking at the same time. It's not working very well.
We got there just at sunrise and we were walking around exploring everything. Really, really fun. All right, so what's this? Oh, here we go. There. So when I made the ambient drum kit, this is how I record it with that stereo field microphone set right there. And that's what this sounds like. This drum kit sampled with that setup is exactly what you hear. Notice it's a toy drum kit snare and a toy hi-hat set. So it's not even the really big hi-hat set, it's a toy set. So, and I record it with my little Tascam. I love this recorder. This is what you hear. And if you turn this off, it is a MIDI kit. With pedal. So it's a really, really cool kit. That's kit 1 of 7 different drum kits. So as you can see, Camp 3, we start getting into divisions because I have multiples in a certain camp. By the way, here's the camp. They're having a kegger. They're jamming at Camp 3. Mountain that they're going to be climbing to the summit to is right there behind them. So if you go to Camp 2, it's a very different kit because then I brought in all the drums individually and I sampled it here in the room. So it's a very dry, more direct in front of you. If you go to Camp Group 3, this is a no snare kit. And if you turn this off, you'll notice the snares and the toms. I don't know if you guys know this, but one of the big giving away factors when you're sampling of toms is whether it's for a snare on or a snare off kit. So here's the snare off where, here how it's clean. Let's go to Camp 2, which is the snappy with the snare. And if I turn off the MIDI file, hear the snares rattling? That's because the snares are tightened on the snare drum, and when you hit the toms, I had to set the snare close to the toms to record it, because without that, you get a different sounding sound of toms. And if you have like if I open up this snare, you can change, by the way, if you open up Guru Sampler, I have made sample maps of everything so that it's really easy to go in here and say, I want, now I have a snare, it's got the buzzes on. But it sounds wrong when you're playing buzzy snares and your tom doesn't have the buzz. So in this case, you'd want to go over here to your toms, which are actually multiple different sets because each tom is panned to its own location. This is a library where I kind of took things to a, this is like in the old days with Roland and Akai samplers, the organization that Eric started with drum libraries for drum kits was each instrument on its own layer. So that the advantage of that is that you can open this up and go, I want a different snare. And if I want, I can go to Camp 4, which is the synth drums. And as you can see, I have all of these maps for all these kicks. These are all dance snares. So I go, oh, there's one snare you can't play. It's a Future 3. Oh, there's a couple. What happened? There's one snare that I have found on one of the kits that's a problematic snare. Let's see, that should be working, right? Oh, it killed the audio? What happened? There's one snare I have to fix. It had a loop header put in it by accident that got misread. But if you go down here to the C4 snares, you can call up. And what's really fun is if you want to really get carried away, call up a kit. And instead of replacing it, duplicate it. Say duplicate this layer. And then it's down at the bottom of the list. And now you can start layering. I'm on the toms. Toms are mapped for the notes of toms. Go up here to all the dance snares. And let's go to the kick. And let's say duplicate the kick. Now, instead of doing this duplicate and stuff, there's another way to do it. At the end of the list of everything, of all the grooves and stuff, there's tons of the drum maps already done for you. So you don't have to do that. Instead, you just set this to UNIFY layer. And this is where it gets really sick. Let's say we want to go drum maps, kick. And I can go down here to the kicks and look at, there's like 100 kicks. The heartbeat kicks. If I click this, I'm adding these kicks. Let's go to, and to the snares, let's go up here to the snares. And let's say I want to have a clubhouse snare. And I want a future. And I want a heartbeat snare. Oh, I got more than 24 layers, so I can't. So you can layer, and if you go up here, another part of the library are drum kits. If we set this to normal, before drum maps, we have drum kits. And so there's all of these, there's like 65 drum kits, including some really cool ones called hybrids, monsters. This is where I have made layers and layering acoustic and synth. So those are really, really fun. There's so many kits all set up. This is the one that breaks, by the way. If you go to, if you play Breakbeat 10, the snare, it has a loop in it. So if you own the library, let me show you what you should do. You should open up that snare. It's Future 3, that's the problem snare. Changes to be a different snare, so it doesn't do this. Right click on Breakbeat 10 and say delete this patch, delete it. Then go save, save as, and save to make a new version of Breakbeat 10. I'll keep it hard on this so I know that that's the one to fix. So that's the one patch that we have found. Thank you, Jason Schopfer. He found it. Hey there. I most likely will be buying this. Yeah, the drum stuff. I've been a drummer for a very long time. That's one category I do not mess around in. I know what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing with drums. It's my favorite category of sounds. So I finally sat down and really decided to hit this hard. We're working on UNIFY 2. It's incredible. I wish I could show you what we're doing. But one of the cool things with UNIFY 2 is you can easily bus any layer to its own output. So for this library, I have set it up so that's all ready for multiple outputs for all the elements. 7 is a high snap. This is a side stick. The hi-hats I worked, I can't tell you how long it took to sample the hi-hats, but to get, I have 3 different velocity switches, lots of round robins on this one note. Then you have a medium open and a wide open. Now, if you want, you can open up the hi-hats, which is just one Guru sampler here. And you could go to hi-hats. Here's the kids hi-hat. There's also the ambient hi-hat right here. It says hats hi-hat. And if you want, you could play the tuning by using chorus. So I love this snare. This snare is so great. This is the DW snare. If I change the snare, I could go to Green Girl, hard. That's this drum. I bought this used off Facebook Marketplace. Check this out. It has, normally you find these girls on the, let's see, let's shrink this. And if I gotta go like this. Normally you find these on the back of stickers that people put on their pickup trucks, you know, the mud flaps and stuff. But I found a translucent green snare with the girls. And it's this snare right here. It's really a great snare. So those are 2 of the 3 snares that I sampled in the library. Now, Creator. Now, here's the thing. If you find a general MIDI map on you're on Machine Mark III, I think that there's a general MIDI send out MIDI map. But you have to transpose each note up 1 octave because the normal MIDI map is right here. I took it up an octave. So your kicks are here, snares, the toms, everything's laid out in general MIDI format. Because this way you can play the pedal hi-hat. Pedal hi-hat's so expensive. You're using the pedal hi-hat all the time when you're playing drums. And if you have a 5-octave keyboard and it's mapped to normal general MIDI, you can't play the hi-hat pedal. Also, there's a buzz right here on A, and then the 2 kicks. And I used to play live drums in a live, back in the late 80s, before Jordan Rudess joined Dream Theater, he worked for Korg. And he and Jack Hotop are on the East Coast. And they wrote this music and then flew me out, and I played drums on I think is a T series, like a T3. And I made my own drum map. And we played progressive rock songs together. And then later I used a drum cat to trigger the drums and played with John Bowen. And in fact, you can find this on my YouTube channel. If we go new YouTube on the PluginGuru channel, let's see right here, go to my channel. I posted, if you want to see, I'll play a second of it here. If you go to videos, all this stuff. That's 2 years ago. I thought I posted it here. UNIFY is cool. Huh. Let me see if I go Livestream. I guess maybe I didn't post it here. I have video of myself. Let's see if I can find it on this. In the videos folder. Let's see if I say Korg. Wait, Jack. Japan. Huh. Anyway, I'm not going to stop the show, but I played live with these guys playing a drum kit. So that's why I do the mapping the way I do and where I put it, because this way you have 2 kicks, 2 snares. So that it's a general MIDI map to work with, right? Hey, Ives, welcome. Sorry you guys are joining late because of the change of hour. We changed, we do this daylight saving thing here. And so we're an hour earlier now. I'm sorry about that. Okay, Camp Group 8 is the cymbals. If you remember in Black Friday last year, the bonus library were these cymbals that I had recorded that I put into a free group. So all the hits and cymbal rolls, and they're here. If you go UNIFY layer, you go to the drum kits, let's add a pop, and let's add a Camp 2 groove and a Camp 1 groove. Everybody works together. I love it. I should save this because I'm going to make some bonus grooves. So let's go over here and let's go Summit Livestream. So Livestream 1, because I might make more of these today. There's 990 patches in the library as released on the 22nd, I think it is. I'm going to release a bonus update. There's some knob assignments I need to fix and a whole bunch more patches. It will probably be maybe 1,100 patches then, because I have all sorts of ideas. There's so much I didn't get to that you can do with drums. The thing with UNIFY is it's so open to like doing experimental stuff and crazy stuff. I'll show you one example. For example, let's go to Camp 3. These are the drum grooves, right? So with the drum kit, that's called pop hats. Now this is a kit. Actually, I'm going to go to a dead high. Here's dead girl. This even. So this is using a snare and a clap. If I go over here and I say duplicate this layer, I'm going to duplicate a layer that's playing the snare, but if I open up Guru's sampler, I'm going to go down into the synth drums. I didn't do this for the library very much yet. So now, Oh, that's kind of cool. Let's shape it up. So you can add all sorts of things. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to add a jitterbox just to this layer. Jitterbox. That's like 25 seconds, so it gets to be a little bit late and laid back. And if I want to double the kick up, I want the kick to be a little bit more focused and driving instead of so I can say, turn this down a little bit so it's not. And then go down here to the kick that I added, go to Guru Sampler, and go to the map list inside of Guru Sampler. Scroll down to the C4 kit. There's all these. These are breakbeats. If you go all the way down to kick, I use Kick Ninja, which is really cool. Let these fully ring out. So you can duplicate and add to modify it from the original really easily. So if I right click on revert and get back to this. So you can add now the hi-hats. I could open the hi-hats. I could, for fun, let's go to C4. There's all of these hi-hat maps. Each one of these maps are set to only play on the assigned notes that equal it. So when you call up heartbeat hi-hats, they don't play on all the notes. So they don't play the kick drum note because these are all played from one MIDI file. It's not separate MIDI files for every layer. It's one MIDI file at the top. So the snares are only playing. So the decay is important to play with because some of the hi-hats, go to tuning. And if you want to vary the tuning and have some fun with that, a really cool way to do it is use sample and hold on the pitch. And you can have it not timed or go over here and set it to timing and turn on timing, say eighth notes. Now it's playing by eighth notes, different random timing. And if you want to play variant time of the amp too, you can do that too if you want. So everything is modular. I like I said, I was in California with Paul, racking my brain over how to organize this library in January. Because I had all the samples and I was like, how do I map this to make sense and make flexible? And I had roughly the idea of doing the Groove Summit concept. So anyway, there's like 200 drum kit groups of all these the shuffles. Yeah, Finger Drummer Paradise. If you go up and turn off MIDI box to any of these, off you go, right? Because what I did is I made the kits and then I went into Logic and made sequences. So that's where they come from. Camp 4 is synth drums. So if we go down here to Camp 4 in the BPM drums, we need to have little go-to buttons for like having chapters or something like that. Kit 4 is synth drums. There's only like 18 grooves in Kit 4 because they're flexible. You can go to these techno ones like this that just, it plays. On page 4 of the macro knobs, this has all 32 pages of macro knobs set up. You got filtering. Again, there's things there I'm going to fix. You have velocity offset. So if you're doing like production things, on page 2, you have timing shift. So if you have 2 different grooves, let's load another groove. So we're playing 2 grooves. And I want this to be late. Oh, you know what? I think I have the setting inside of my settings so that it automatically is. There's a really cool setting you can use when you're loading with UNIFY layers, multiple patches, and they all have their own knob assignments. If you have this add missing macro links, when you add new layers, it will add the links. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say, don't do that. So this time when I load a kit, what happened is it also loaded up a kit for that delay offset timing shift. So now it's not doing that. So now I can, they're off time. And it's hard to tell because this UNIFY layer is so noisy, but a different kit. Right? So you have those kind of controls to work with. Still missing Dre. Boom, boom, with a harp. Now on page 4, you have the ability to change the samples for the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat. So snare. Hi-hats. And if you look at the list for the kicks, you can cycle between all of these kicks. So all these kicks are in the library for synth drums. All the snares, if you go here for all the synth snares, there's, let's see, so you can see the whole list. All these snares. And what I'm doing is UNIFY is changing this sample to select. So you can use this to change. So each one of these grooves can change between 30 different kicks and snares and multiple hats and stuff. So instead of making a whole huge menu, because I ran out of time, this is one category that will get expanded considerably, I think, in the update. I'll make a whole bunch more grooves. A lot of these are based on different songs, like this, you know, my espresso, you know, that's a pop song that's going on right now. I did everything to the tempo of the song. Starstruck, when you gonna pick up, boom, from Lady Gaga, G Thing. Da 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 ba da ya da. Pick up bum bum bum. Is it that second part to ba? So the grooves are all here. Birds of a Feather. If you go here, this is the Billie Eilish. I ain't get a ding. So I made patterns for that. Then there's straight techno, 8th note and 16th note, different tempos, different samples, stuff like that. So kit 4 is the drum machines. So here we're at Camp 4. We're almost to the summit. Camp 4 is the final camp, by the way, for Mount Everest. They don't have a Camp 5 for Mount Everest, but we do. And Camp 5 is maybe the most epic of them all because it's 17 different percussion instruments that I sampled. Some of them come from is it Eternal Flow? I think it was, where I had all these really cool synth sounds. And then I did a whole bunch of percussion and tambourines, talking drums, egg shakers and stuff like that. So it's all these really cool bells. And then I added all the other stuff so that you could, the drums could do this kind of stuff, right? Well, all that percussion is included in Groove Summit, plus about 8 other instruments. Because I have this, the talking drum. There's now 7 different shakers, including pill bottle. I used a pill bottle for 2 different shakers. So if we go to Camp 5, let's see, we're Camp 3 right now. The way you tell what camp you're in is right after the BPM. C3 is Camp 3. That's acoustic drums. And if you aren't sure, you can call it up and play it and you'll know right away, right? Camp 4 is the drum machine. So here's Camp 4. Camp 5, there's, well, let's go with the first one. This is the African shakers. The second is the double shakers, which is this black double canister shaker that I love. Really great sound. Now, the way that these work, all of these maps are available down at the bottom of the list in menus. So if we go double shaker right here, shaker double, there's all these samples. It's cool hits for snares. And instead of doing round robin, where you do like 4 samples, this is tons of samples, more than that. And you get to choose when the parts play. And there's a really fun video that I released with the library. It's a bonus content, and there's some really cool tips in there for sequencing and then ways to use these maps to get them to be really realistic. Because if you listen to these BPM percussion grooves in particular, I'm changing subtly the notes around so that it doesn't sound like it's a repetitive sequence. Because that's what we can do. That's really cool. All of the in fact, if I go like down and arrow, all of the sample maps. Here's the pill bottle. It's so many samples it goes off the keyboard. It's more samples than my keyboard can play. There's another pill bottle shaker. There's so you have all these cool shakers. Steel spring. It's this big, really cool spring that's made out of metal that has, you can hit the bass, you can hit different places and it conks and resonates. The talking drum. You got the normal hits here. Then you have different bends. Bending up. There's 3 tambourines. There's the back and forth. So you can do all that kind of stuff with 3 different tambourines. Triangle, which has closed notes and open notes. And each one of these closed notes, if you cycle between... Now, if you're sequencing, I've noticed something that some of these, the sequences, I'm using a mono legato to cancel. And some DAWs, I was doing some stuff with Logic and it wasn't working right. If you have pitchy problems, you can go over here and set this to polyphonic. And then just shorten your release. And this way it doesn't have the glitchy problems if you're sequencing that I've come across it a couple times. So I have to talk to the guys and see what we can, if there's a bug in there maybe. I don't know. Crazy. So the open to the closed, there's a wood block that you can play with. So Camp 5 has these 17 different percussion instruments with each one with at least 10 sequences each. So if you get to the summit, no, we're not to the summit, we're in here's triangle. Now the stack, there's 20 some stack patches. If I go here and say stack, this is where each of the main instruments has a stack. And that's where the MIDI box, instead of playing just one of the single patches, which shows just one groove at a time, the cool thing with the stacks, if we go here and change the list so I can see it, if we call up the stack, this loads up all of the MIDI files all in one MIDI box. And then if we go to the macro knobs over here on page 1, I'm cycling through the patterns So the stack patches are pretty cool because even if you go to like Camp 3, which has the drums, there's stacks for these, so that we can call it MIDI box. And then you can change the pattern between all of these grooves. I got my naming messed up a little bit, but they still change. So you can use this to vary when you're sequencing. To do fun things. And between that, this is the macro knob assignments that I want everything to have. Shane's going to help me. We have to use some special Python scripting tools that he has and so forth. So that this one knob, if you check out this knob, it's kind of a cool trick. I've got it set so going to the left, it goes from normal to halftime. Now it's playing halftime in MIDI box. It changes the denominator. The other side from 50% changes the numerator so it so you can just cycle between these two. If you need glitchy stuff, this is really cool. All of the stacks, this is why I stayed up all night to get it so that this knob, all these knobs are set. There's 24 layers assignments. They all work on every one of the stack patches. I had to make sure that these work. So the stacks are the places to go if you really want to get into the macro knobs. I fixed all of the Camp 1, 2, 3 drums and stuff like that. They're mostly fixed. But when we got to Camp 5, the percussion, I need some help from Shane because there's 200 patches. Either that or I've got 2 weeks to do it, so I'll fix it. But here you also have, just so you know, on page 2, distortion. On page 3, you've got delay. And filtering, a phaser. And this is all just to this layer, which means if you say UNIFY layer and I choose another layer to add, like a drum groove, let's say Camp 3, no snare. The acoustic drums don't have the phaser because there's a separate phaser if you want to use it inside of Camp 3. So go over here to page 3 of the macro knobs. It has its own phaser. And on page 2, it has its own distortion. So you can have the drums processed one way, the snares processed another way. Go up here to like all the breakbeats. It has its own groups of effects. So you can just go groove crazy. And this is the knob that's changing between all the MIDI box patterns. So if I go over here and I go like this and open up MIDI box, let's see if it'll let me do this. No, it won't let me do it. If I bring this up here, now I'm changing the patterns. And they have their own effects. So I can go to the distortion. I just want to have it be like high EQ effects. So each layer is a UNIFY effect all unto itself. So each one can have its own effects. So the power here is, this is basically super power for dealing with drums. It's nuts. Yes, Rob, that's the idea. I did a flooding the zone of information in the video tutorial that comes with this library. There is so much information shared on tips and tricks to how to get everything to work. Okay, so after Camp 5, which has, again, there's wood block. Here, let's just add percussion to this silly thing here. So let's go over here and say we want a tambourine. Tambourines, I want a triangle, so that's the 17th group is triangle. Let's say typical 16ths. And then with percussion, it's good to pan it out of the stereo field so that it doesn't sit in the middle. By doing this, you hear the instruments. Check this out. I pan this triangle to the left and the tambourine to the left to the right and right. You hear them better than if they're both in the center. Because now they're just all demanding all the attention in both speakers. But if you pan out left and right, and turn it down a little bit, you don't need to be quite so loud. You can get into all sorts of cool, subtle things. So this is Camp 4, actually Camp 5, sorry. So we're almost to the summit. Look at how close we are. It's right there, so close. And we have all the percussion instruments, like these guys, the Sherpa. There's one set of Sherpas that was hired just to bring the percussion instruments to Camp 5. So see the bongos over here and the shakers and whatever this cool percussion thing is. It's all percussion. So, you know, after a hard day of climbing on a mountain, what you want to do when you chill is you want to play percussion instruments. So there you go. And then finally we get to the summit. And this is where everybody gets together. Here, let's actually, don't load it as a UNIFY layer because that's going to be just nuts. But if you go up here and you say load a summit, this loads up a whole bunch of stuff. And as you can see, we're now on the summit. It's sunset. You'd never be climbing to the summit at sunset. You don't do this in real life, okay? But it's really fun. I used AI imaging to describe. I wanted a whole place to jam with drums on the summit of a mountain that's 13,000 feet high. And I wanted it at sunset, and I want to see the galaxy, and I wanted to have a sunset. And it made my image for me just from typing away. So thank you, Midjourney, for helping with the imagery for this library, because, you know, there's no place I can think of where you could say, I want to have percussion, or if I want to have drum machines at a hiking camp with tents around. Nobody's done this in real life, but this is one of the things where I think AI imagery can be kind of creative and fun, is you can tell it to do things that never been done before, and it will make a drum set at a hiking camp for you to jam with. I mean, it's very, very fun. So Camp Summit is where everything comes together. And as you can see, there's different numbers, 1, 2, and 3. Let's do 3 first. This is the percussion only. So it's only, this is kind of the chilled with the sensei. Your typical get down. Like if we're gonna go to another library, let's go to like Mega Magic Keys. And let's go to the piano. Like here's the velocity switching C3. Add that in. Uh-oh. I got a Mega Magic piano. I don't want a Mega Magic piano. So just go up here to the grand piano velocity switch like this. So you have everything for a So you have your percussion ensemble to jam with. And again, I work really closely to get my mixes so it works with everything that's in the library. What's fun is if you just right click and add any other patch to any of these grooves, you immediately start writing music. It's really, really funny. Let's go Mega Magic guitars. Go down here to some splits. Like here's like this Snowy Windows split. So I have a case like this, I need more. I need a drum groove itself. So we'd go back to Groove Summit. Let's say we go to the kit 3 drums. Athena, I can't. Go lay down. Go lay down. I'm in a live stream. So here, come here, sit down. Athena wants me to play with her. She wants me to play. But let's go over here and say, let's go with the Bossa Ride. Load this into a new UNIFY layer now. My bass is a little heavy on here. Let's go here at Snowy Windows and turn down. And let's say I need to twist it a little bit. So to go to Camp 1, which is all the really cool heartbeat, kitschy kind of break beats. Let's go over here and say, oh Roomba. Let's load that into the UNIFY layer, and now. And let's go to Camp 4, which is the drum machine stuff. Let's add a drum machine groove. So we go over here, Camp 4. Let's say pop, pause, and so everything works together and sounds so darn good. Here, let's mute the guitars for a second so you can hear the groove by itself. I'm not kidding around. This is the coolest drum thing I have ever made, because you have all of these grooves from all these elements, and they blend together and play so nicely. Everything's hitting at the right frequencies. It's like a joy to work with. I've been doing some demos and it's just fun. There's other grooves. So Camp 3, like I said, this is where it's, now this is a fun one. I started using trigger box, and I'm setting the trigger boxes at percentages. It's like 70% of the time, or even shorter like this one here. It's like less than 50%. Different layers play or don't play. So now you have more like there's humans that are adding their own interpretation from not playing every note that's there. There's also just tasty shakers. So you can call this up, go to UNIFY layer. Let's go to Camp, well, we got Camp 5 already covered, right? Because we got the percussion. So let's go to Camp 4. Maybe we'll add Birds of a Feather. And let's go to Camp 1, which is, let's add a breakbeat. So Camp 2 is breakbeats. Let's use Reflector on 3. And then let's go to Camp 1. Let's add something like, let's use Broker. They all just work together so nice. Let's use Sparser. Now, some of these that sound like this, they get really recognizable. You can tell. And since this is just a single layer, I'm going to go over here to this UNIFY little object here and say, instead of being a UNIFY that's embedded, I'm just to say replace with UNIFY's first layer. So it's just the instrument layer by itself. It gets rid of all the extra effects. Now it's just right here, so I can open this up. If you want to have fun, here's a free tip that I didn't cover in the video, but this is fun. Go to the LFO, turn on triggering, set it to sample and hold, or square wave also works really well, and then play with pitch. You can get into all sorts of cool things. Play with phase, set this at 50, so that way it's in between the two. Add distortion to it, you know, all of a sudden you start getting all sorts of really cool new things. Let's go to this groove here. And again, it's just a UNIFY layer by itself. So I'm going to use a replace embedded. So it's just a guru layer by itself. Let's do this. For this one here, I'm going to say hi-hats. I'm going to be custom so I can customize the shape. And I'm going to be 16th notes pitch. Now you're getting into stylus, RMX, programming, tricky stuff. This is what makes adding the synth parameters, which I haven't done a lot of yet, but we'll be doing a lot for the bonus. Is like, I'm going to save this because this is really cool. And this sound here, I also want to use in here to the modulation to the round pan. So it makes it start dancing around the stereo field. So I'm going to save this because this is very, very fun. Livestream 2. So go save as. So these will be bonus patches that I'm going to release probably 150 bonus patch grooves and stuff in 2 weeks. So I'll clean this up, and there's more stuff I'm going to do to this to get there. So other summits. We were just playing with one part of the summit. The first part was the percussion by itself, group 3. Group 1, like I think I showed you for a second, this is emphasis on drums. So it can be percussion, but the drum kit is in there. Some of these get a little more trippy and stuff like that. Summer Nights. These are mostly acoustic oriented. And then group 2, all bets are off. You get to, the emphasis is synth drums. There's really cool, there's gonna be a whole lot more of these in the update, but fancy groove stuff. In between moments is really cool. Some of these, I have to give a shout out to Taylor. Taylor made some grooves, and then we did like a collaboration, so I would add some tricks and stuff on top of it. But if you sold the first 2 or 3, you can hear what Taylor started with. I mean, I messed up the pitch and stuff of everything, but we worked together. He made, I think, 20 grooves in the library. So thank you, Taylor. Yeah, Taylor worked with us. It's awesome. Joyous Get Together. All the group 2 stuff is synthetic. So Funkin' With You. Some have an acoustic nature, but it's more electronic and feels. Electric Dog. You know, Cashback. Brave New World. So there's a lot of electronic stuff in group 2 of the summit. The hip hop vibe is happening here. Summer Nights is again the acoustic. So it's fun to have a drum library that can go from this to this to a one-eyed psychic to Spicy Caesar. Here's the tribal waiting room. To just percussion by itself doing. So this all in this library, it's huge. And then you get to crazy stuff like there's all the drum kits. So all these drum kits are mapped and set up so that and there's 60 drum kits. Remember, breakbeat 10, the snare is broken. Earlier in the live stream, I showed you how to fix it. Load it up, go to the snare, which is right here, and open it up before you play it. Because if you play a note, you're hearing a ringing loop, and it might break the audio. And then just cycle to a different patch. I sampled this really cool set of drums. if you go down to the maps, after this drum maps and the drum kits, you get to drum menus. And right in here, I have a drum kit. This is the future kit, and you can see the notes for it here. These are all made. Oh, I played that snare. That snare's in that group. So, yeah, I have a little boo-boo. I've never had a crash like that in a live stream in so long. How funny. So there is something with one of the samples that apparently UNIFY is allergic to. I'm going to put this crash log over here so I can send that to our friends and we can, well, you know, I know why it made it. It's because of the sample, but I'm going to save it anyhow, just for the heck of it. Oops, Tonda. We haven't had a Tonda in a very long time. Those of you who've been around when I've done live streams, it's been years. It was the early days of UNIFY, the first probably 6 months. We had lots of Tondas. I haven't had one since. So the future kit, somewhere in there is that snare that's going to cause a problem. So I'm sorry. Future kits, be careful with it. But you have all the kits, snares, hats, and drum menus. These drum maps are really, really fun because everything is set to specific notes only. So if you go kick, it only plays, just so you know, on the kick notes. It doesn't play anywhere else on the keyboard except these two notes. So the way to use this is to go to UNIFY Instrument 1 only, and now go to snare, and then go to hi-hats, which is up here for hats. So here, now. So you can build your own drum kits. And what's really crazy, and this is where it gets really fun, is when you start layering. So let's add a clubhouse kick. And let's add a future kick. And then pan these so you can hear some differentiating. Who says you're not supposed to stereo out your low end? You can if you want. And if you go up to the top of this, this is the C4. That's the drum machine camp. C3 is in the house too. So I can go up here and I can say, give me a hard snare. And the kick, I want to add one of the kicks from the library. And the hi-hats, let's go to the hi-hats and say we want to add the kid hi-hats. So you can layer the sample maps on the drum map area. Or if you want to get crazy, you can also do it with all the drum kits. And then you just get into crazy stuff. That's where, let's go to Breakbeat. Let's load that one, and then let's also load the, well, there's one kit that let's use the ambient rocker kit and a breakbeat. So we're going to say UNIFY layer. And let's turn this down. And let's add a future kit. Oh. I got to revert back so right click on revert. I'll take you back to your last edit before you change. I got to use UNIFY layer. So that's 3 kits playing together. There's no place else on the planet you can do this. Let's say 4 kits. You can layer like so easily in UNIFY. So it gets into really fun stuff when you start adding all of these. So you can get into all sorts of trouble by adding layers that way. It's really, really fun. All right. let's see, are there any questions? Am I missing any questions here? What would be the best approach here to switch beats during a song variety? Yes, well, if you're using the same drum kit, then that eases things up. You could go, let's go here to the whole library and say stack. Just to give you an example, let's go to like the Snappy kit. And this is using, because it's a stack, it's using the pattern, so it's all set up. I'll make a video probably showing how to make your own type 1 MIDI files. It's fairly easy. Let's do it. Actually, let's see. Well, I have other stuff I have to show you. There's 2 plugins I have to show you. Anyway, I could spend 2 more hours just showing you this library because there's so much to it. But by changing between patterns in a song, instead of being completely different grooves like this, you could have different sections of your song. For the fill, here's the right section part of the song. And let's say I had the drum dance stuff added as a new, let's see, how would I do this? I could say a new UNIFY layer for the drums, but check this out. We're going to get kind of surgical for a second. So I want this, well, actually I can do it here because it's playing, right? All I have to do is there is a knob in this stack for patterns, and it's knob number 8. I just need to marry those two. So if I right click to open up the knob assignments here and hit plus, and make sure you're on the full minimum maximum square so that it's going to give you minimum maximum range, go to that groove, to the UNIFY knobs, and right here is pattern. So as I change this, I'm now changing the patterns in 2 different grooves, the drum kits. So I could sequence up my drum patch, my MIDI files to be in sync so that this would be the same groove on both switching. And then I could have it changing. Right? I can go between the grooves just by moving the pattern up. And here it's like the full pattern changes, but it could be very subtle fills and variations in a song that you'd sequence and program that stuff away, right? Yes, there will be an update to fix the bad snare. I'll be doing that as soon as the live stream is done because someone let me know about this problem last night, so I haven't had a chance to fix it yet. So you can get to where you have one pattern knob that controls, or if I needed to be separate because it's different patterns that I want on different things, instead of right-clicking, if you go here and say link parameters, that also opens it up. I could say copy this and then delete it from this one. And then I could go to like page 4, which isn't being used. And let's paste that knob. Oh, wait. Oh, it's inside here. So I right click. There's different cut paste buttons. So if I go here and I hit plus and I say add link from micro that's in the clipboard. So this is drum machine, DM pattern change, right? And if I want them to be on the same page, I could just go over here and you could say copy knob. The other shortcut is to use Control and Shift to just click right here. And then I can go to page 4, hold down Shift by itself. Oh, come here, page 4. Hold down Shift and click here. So this is the one drum grooves. And this is the other one. Both of them right now, 0 is blank. So if you bring it to blank, they don't play. So this way I could independently change the drum machine grooves. And I could go down here to Kabasa and I could say load this into a new UNIFY layer. And then I know already that it's all set up. So all I have to do is go to this knob and go over here to the instrument, Kabasa stack. It's a UNIFY layer. right here are all the knob assignments, pattern numbers. So now I have pattern changing between the shaker, the drum groove, and the drum machine. So you can make it set up. Turn down the shaker a little bit, turn down the drum machine a little bit. So I'm changing the patterns to each thing independently. Got a shuffle on top of the regular groove. Also, it's really cool. One of the knobs that's set up, and if you go over here to the macro knobs on page 3, is Humanize. And this opens up Jitterbox. So check out how this makes the shaker and let's go to the drum machine, and let's also humanize it. So if we open this up, you know, I should have the drums doing a regular groove too, so they see, right? Here's the drums. They all have humanize on page 3. Do that, and let's go to the acoustic drums on page 3 here. Now, the humanize just gives random timing of like 20 milliseconds. So now it's got a little bit more human feel to it, you know? Yes, and if you had these all set to the same assigned CC number, so if this is 31 for all 3 of these, then yes, you would be able to now synchronize up to where one MIDI CC number could change the patterns of all 3 layers of percussion and drums and everything like that. Yeah. Yay, Wave Sequencer's in the house. He just so you guys know, he went away. He has a little cabin in the mountains and went away for the last week and really made some really amazing advances on UNIFY 2's interface. And when you see it compared to UNIFY 1, you will drop your jaw. My jaw is still on the floor somewhere. It's really, I can't show you yet. We're not there to the point of showing you, but incredible. I can't wait. All right, real quickly, there's a couple other plugins that came out this week. Every week there's something new to show you guys. I love it. So to start with, Cherry Audio released a drum machine. Link is in the video description for this already. If we go to Cherry Audio, CGRY, we have all their plugins, but down the list, way down here somewhere, we have the, where is it? It's the, here it is, the KR-55, which is modeled after the Korg Rhythm KR-55. It's a very cool vintage. I don't know why. Whenever it calls up, it calls up like this until you change patches. And now over here, hit play. So one of the cool things that I appreciate with this is they didn't just make an emulation. So many companies make an emulation. They try to just sample the samples of it, recreate the patterns, and that's it. Here they have the ability to have effects, all sorts of things on this. So you can choose effects. You can go to the mixer page and you have the ability to change the mix. What effects are going into what? You can turn them on and off here. You can trigger them in cool ways, which is really fun. So as you go through the patterns for this, they're using effects, which is something that the KR-55 doesn't include, of course, right? So not only is it just the authentic grooves, they can change the skin in some of them, but they're going into cool other territory that the KR-55 by itself can't. So props to them for Let me see. Yeah, and then down at the bottom of the keyboard, for every one of these grooves, is there an on and off button in the MIDI for playing? No, I guess not. You just have to hit plus here. But all the sounds that make up this groove are mapped on the keyboard. So you can call up each one of these patches and it equals a drum kit. Which is really, really fun. So you can get into all sorts of cool, like that's some serious squashing. Without it, there's a limiter as well. So you can get into some really fun territory with the effects and stuff built into here, right? So props to Cherry Audio for another cool drum machine if you need something of this cool vibe. Cherry Audio, here's their website. And if you go over here and click the KR, it's $49. And it gives all the details about it. And you can pick it up. So, yay, that's very cool. Let me show you what's next. Let me find a groove to play with. Maybe I'll use the Groove Summit groove. Let's go over here to the Summit normal and turn off search so that we're just seeing this. I also have a new Dawsome effect that has come out this week. And there's a couple cool things about it. Let's say we call up a groove like this. It has a interesting name. It's called HATE. It's distortion. And so it's all about, it's doing that to this. And you can mix between the two, which is cool. Like they take it down and just add a little bit of this. It's wave shaper based distortion. And so you have all sorts of cools to change where at in a wave table it's going through. You can stretch it or compress it like this. You can warp it in cool ways. Now, you've got other effects down here on, so let's bring these down. All of these effects can be running at once to process the grooves. So it has a cool interface. Maybe add just a little bit of that to the groove. Really, really fun to play with. Because you have a knob for mix. Now the way it works, you can click the little tiny settings to get to the parameters that are here. Here's an OTT, and there's all down here where it says default, there's presets. So if I click here, I can just lift, puncture, enhance, and I have controls for the enhancing. It's kind of strange to toggle back and forth. He made another plugin that you guys need to know about called Love. So this is the opposite. And the thing with Love, let me show you Love really quick, because he has a special where you can get both Love and Hate. Here's a sine wave. And I'm just going to call up Love on the sine wave, and right there you sell this plugin because it's a shimmer dream. It's making this sound from that. So I can play my chord. Let's play this chord. Let's get some low end. So this is, if you're familiar with Dawsome, Peter, the guy behind Dawsome, he made a really cool plugin called Novum, which is a granular synth that you can play. So he put that granular engine into an audio effect called Love. So I'm still just playing a sine wave. And just bring up the mix 100%. So for you ambient dreamaholics, this is like the ultimate in ambient dreamaholicism right here. And if you want, add hate to this. But then instead of 100%, have just a little bit. And you get to really cool, granular, kind of dirty stuff. So these are his two plugins. You can get both of them on special for killer price. And they really can open up all sorts of really cool doors for you. And then if I go to Groove Summit, because I'm a sick puppy, and let's say go down here to the Summit. Let's choose something like maybe down tempo. And since this is a new UNIFY layer, it's not going through these effects. So they all work together. Slow it down. And instead of sine wave, let's go over here. Let's say we want to use something like Absinthe. It'll take it a second, I think, to load up. Because everything had gone to sleep. But now we have, let's say, a string. Oh, maybe it's not working because its interface is a little weird. There's something happened in the Apple OS that broke some things. Just so you know, inside of UNIFY, the Chow Tape model interface. Oh, no, now it's looking right. Yesterday it wasn't looking right. It's so funny. But it was cutting off the bottom of the interface here. But today it's working right. So I don't know. But anyway, these two plugins, Love and Hate, are really cool. If we bypass Love and we just have Hate, and let's go back to just groove sampler. Let me mute the drums so we don't have the drum groove going really quick. Let's say we choose a sine wave instead. So other things Hate can do. because it's wave shaper based, a sine wave can be turned into this. If you right click here, you can choose between the different. Well, this is probably done from a lot of this stuff. So bring down the distortion. More wavetable. See, I have it pretty flat, so let's go up here. The one thing that he didn't do that's a little frustrating, he has these synths and stuff, so he knows how to use LFOs. There's nothing in this to move any parameters. There is in UNIFY. So if you want to have seriously crazy fun, if you go over here and you embed this into a UNIFY layer, go over here and add a, on the utility, add CC Writer. And let's set it to like a half a bar and have it just cycle minimum to max. I can now open up this layer and I could go to the knobs and let's first link this knob to CC Writer, it's CC20, and then just open this up and I could go to any of the parameters inside of HATE and assign them. So I go over here, Effect, HATE, here's all the parameters. So I could go to, well, it's easier when you get to this level of complexity and you're like, this is where I like that we now have an ear. So I can move a parameter. If I hit the ear and I move slice, now it's moving. I could say, and I can open up the curves and say load curve shape. Let's say we want to have it do like just a 7 steps curve. And so I could now get into doing some weird timing things just by moving things around a little bit. So it's randomized like this, and then like maybe like here. And let's say I want to play with the OTT mix. So hit the ear, move OTT, and copy this shape and put it to this shape. So paste. So even though this effect has no motion capabilities in it, I have motion capabilities inside of UNIFY. So it's really cool. Let's take this down an octave. So I go down an octave and let's turn on our drum groove. And you could sync it up. I don't have it synced quite right now. So the effects get far more, like I said, anything inside of UNIFY immediately has superhero powers. You can modulate any parameter easily. You can get into cool territory. Why isn't that working? Let's do this. So that's synced, and let's go to the macro effects. I probably messed up my time. Oh, you know what? It's set to 7. Duh. 7's not going to be quantized. But if I said load curve and I said 1 of 8. So let's like use this because this is now synced because it's divisions of 8. So we could like go like this, and if I don't mess it up too much, let's see, go like this, I got to keep that there for the timing. Now it will be synced in time because I got 8 steps. 7 will never work because it's 7, right? So if we go like this, let's copy this, let's see, copy, and then go over here and paste. Even if we did something like just load curve and said like a square, I think like, or 4 steps, let's say 4 steps. So say 3 or 4. So now it's just 3 steps. So we can go here and set this to a half value and then copy this, paste that here. And I could keep adding parameters to this. So I could open up HATE. I could play with the wet dry mix. So I could say ear, wet dry mix. So it's added it and then just paste the same shape to that. So now it's, wait, is mix not added? Slice. Oh, let's do it this way. Let's go right here, insert one, effect. Go to HATE, where's mix? Drive edge. There's a lot of parameters. Here we go, right here, mix. So now it's currently doing this shape. It could be a completely different shape. So I could say load curve preset. Let's say 2 of 8. It's doing the mix based on this curve, while these guys have their own curve. UNIFY is so sick, it's not even funny. So, yes, you can get motion and cool stuff to happen if you have UNIFY playing with it. So. Yeah, love and hate work really well together. So anyway, so we're almost out of, we're over time actually. So that's what I can show you today. We'll continue with more stuff with Groove Summit next week. I'll have a whole bunch of additional bonus grooves I can show off to show the fun stuff that's going on. Yes, it's next level for any plugin you use inside of UNIFY, because adding a combo box right here, utility CC Writer, if you add, not combo box, CC Writer, this adds you an LFO that can control anything downstream. So any plugin or any audio effect that you have in here become fodder to play with in any kind of way you can imagine. So it's truly God mode, one ring to rule them all with UNIFY. So it's good stuff. So thank you for your support. Is there also a button to automatically make a break, just like a keyboard with accompaniment, that you can use a key for a break? You know, that would probably be something that would happen. That's a good question. There's no note on the keyboard per se, but you could set up a knob pretty easily. All you have to do is go to the macro knobs. I signed up all 3 pages, but the 4th page, except for the drums, doesn't do anything. But you could go over here to, like, say this knob, and all you'd have to do is, let me see if the setting, MIDI box, bypass. So if we were to go there, that's the first MIDI box at the God level up here. And then you'd have to just go to all these MIDI boxes, because this is a complex patch, right? So go instrument here, MIDI effect, MIDI box, bypass. Now, there's a whole bunch in a row here. So all I have to do is go here and say +1, duplicate the layer, +1. This would be much easier if it was just, let's do this. Don't do it to a summit. A summit's a lot of work. Let's do it to a drum groove to start with, just to show you that, yes, it's pretty easy to set up. Just go over here. Let's open up this knob. have this to minimum max, go over here to the MIDI layer, to MIDI effects, MIDI box, bypass. So when you bring this like this, it's bypassed. So you can bypass it anytime you want. Now, if you add other layers to this, let's say that we go over here and let's say we added another groove from, like, say, a loop. So let's add a breakbeat loop from groove 2. Say load into UNIFY layer. So it added this. There's a couple different patterns. There, now they're in sync. That's funny. So if we go to UNIFY 2, let's do this. If you go here and say copy knob, and then we go into this UNIFY layer, because it's the same layout as, well, no, it's not. So what you need to do is go to the internal UNIFY layers, wherever there's a MIDI box, go over here, go to, this is on instrument 1, MIDI effect, MIDI box, bypass. And then call this bypass, because it's inside of this UNIFY layer. So I need to now go up here to this knob, add from the instrument 1, UNIFY bypass. I put it right here on page 4. So I can bypass as many things as I add. I'm just bypassing while holding a note down. So yeah, you can do that. Very easy. You can bypass it and have it start anytime you want, little pieces. A drum fill. Well, if you do this, start and stopping, you're kind of getting a fill. You could also add a knob that's going into that instrument. And I believe if I go to UNIFY to the 1, 2, 4, 8 time. And then what I want to do is I want to go to this and have it get to the max before it gets to bypass. So I'd go like this and bring up the curve. So now it's... So you can make fills by having it just double time on one of the parts. Then if you bring it all the way to the top, it bypasses everybody. Here's for your metal heads. Do that and add some hate on top of it. So go over here and say hate. There we go. Right. So, yeah, you can do that if you want. Very late to the party. Hey, Northwood. Sorry. The live streams are going to start an hour off for you guys in Europe and other parts of the world. Yeah, super fun. I mean, UNIFY is all about experimenting. You can set up these sequences to do denominator stuff. And I could even like go to, this hate is right here, right? So I have access to it onto a knob right here. If I hit plus, go to instrument, to the last instrument, to effect. Oh, no, of 13. 13. Oh, it's effect hate. Here it is, hate. So I have all the parameters for hate. So I could go over here to warp and have that also happening so that it's... So now if we look inside of hate, this warp knob is now changing when I move this knob. And I could also have it change other things just by using the ear. So let's go ear. Let's have it move slice. And I want to have it also change like the mix of OTT. So now, and then change the curvature of this by adding a breakpoint up here so that it gets to max like about here. So that's too much, so bring it down. You can actually, this is one of the coolest things with UNIFY. When you click a note to change it, look at, I'm seeing in real time what the value is. So I can listen. See, I want it to get about right there. And I want the curvature to be a little gentle so there's more space where it's not distorted. So so this is experimentation land. This is what I was watching the interview with Hans Zimmer from Rick Beato, and it's like, you know, half of the cool things in scores are accidents that I did while just experimenting. And I was watching an interview with Deadmau5, and he's like, yeah, I just stand at the modular and screw around until something cool pops out. Experimenting is where the weird, cool stuff in music happens. UNIFY gives you the tools to hook up anything to change and mod. You can experiment. Like this could be doing this to Zebra instead of a drum groove, right? So, I mean, experimenting is what we are trying to encourage everybody to play with. And it's really, really easy and fun. Makes for all sorts of fun stuff. Makes for be able to do in live streams for 4 years straight and still have something new to talk about. Isn't that fun? It's kind of cool. All right. I'm out of here. Thank you for joining us. Let's do our shout outs. Ivar from Norway. Good to see you, my friend. Shout out from Eagle, Idaho. Peace, love, and hate. Yeah, and if you have like a groove that's even rounder and stuff, that's where distortion is really, really cool. So if I was to go over here, there's so many places I haven't gone inside of this library yet, so I can't wait to show you what we're going to come up with. Because all that percussion can get put into drum grooves on snares and kicks. I haven't done that yet. So take something like this. Now add hate. And you know what I'm going to do? Let's load trial by jury as a UNIFY layer because I wanted like add CC writer and stuff like that. So here's what you do. Hold down Option, click Init. That gets rid of everything but this one UNIFY layer. And it's already set to UNIFY as a layer. So I can just open this up. And it's already set to Groove Summit. So I can go to trial by jury. And I can even just go up here and say jury. There we go. Now it's a UNIFY layer. So I can just add hate here. And by the way, just so you know, he has the granular effect. It's inside there with that distortion and stuff. And if you click plus, there's all these other cool things. Loophole is really cool. This is a really cool step sequencer playing bits and pieces of groove. So there's all sorts of cool things in this plugin. It's just unfortunate there's not stuff to... It would be a game changer and it would be able to do so much more if it was doing rhythmic things. There's nothing inside of here to change any of this stuff. I mean... Like if we go over here, we say add a CC writer. I'm going late. I know I'm late. I'm 30 minutes over already, but YouTube doesn't care and I don't care. So, you know, let's just make it once again being a full segue to the full range, right? And then all we have to do is open up this. Oh, wait, I'd want to put this hate. I'm going to hold down Control and Shift to copy my settings, delete it. I have to put it inside this UNIFY layer. That's the whole key to getting stuff to work. Is let's go over here and let's say HATE. So we go right here and say, give me HATE. And then I'm going to hold down Shift and click on HATE, and that pastes my settings that I was using. So since it's now all inside of a UNIFY layer, this CC writer is above it and can now change things. So I can go to page 4, go to assign CC20. So now this is moving, and now all I have to do is assign parameters to this. So let's open up HATE. And let's just play with the mix. And the mix, I don't think I could use the ear. I don't think it was sending out. If I use my ear and move, oh, it is. Yay, okay. Load curve preset. I need to make some more weird ones. Because, you know, right here, actually, check this out. I don't know if you know this. This is a cool tip. If I go up here to Pump House, it's using the same envelope thingy that's down here inside of CC Writer. So if I go to the presets and I choose some cool rhythmic insanity, like, not that one, let's use something a little bit more complex. Let's use like Road to Discovery. If I right click here and I say copy this curve, boom. Pump House, bypass to make sure it's not being used. If I go to this modulation and I say paste, there it is. So now it's changing the mix in a cool Pump House curve. One thing we'll do for UNIFY 2 is we'll give it access to all the curves to all be together probably, or something like that. So I could like go over here and I could get rid of a couple of these. Have it segue up. So just changing the mix alone of HATE. Boom. That's a cool rhythmic thing. Put a delay on this. Let's go over here and add a delay. Let's make this be like a long quarter note. And off you go. You're exploring new territory just like that. Then go back to this UNIFY layer. Go to page 4 where the knob's dancing around. Let's play something else. If you go to this, go to the instrument, to the master, to effects, to HATE. Actually, it's easier because the list is so huge. This is where the ear is really fun. So you can go just open up the plugin. Let's see. Well, you get the idea. I'm not going to belabor it and try to figure out. But if I was playing around, this is what you do for 2 or 3 hours until you got it changing resonant frequencies and all sorts of stuff going on, right? So yeah, UNIFY is our playground. We can play around and do anything we want with all of our plugins. So very cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Yeah, she needs to go outside. I got to take my dog out to play and go pee. So hopefully she hasn't had an accident in the house. She's pretty good. She's got a good bladder still. All right. Thank you for those of you that are buying Groove Summit. I appreciate so much your business. It's a little more expensive than the other libraries. I hope you can see why. I've put my heart and soul into, it's literally 5, if not more, libraries in one. You have drum loops, you have drum kits, you have the maps, you have menus, you've got percussion, synth drums, drum loops, and acoustic drums all in one library. I'm giving you a super special price for 1 week, $70 off. The week after that, it will be $60 off for 1 week, and then it will be its $129 retail price. But like I said, I put a lot into this. we'll be releasing like literally like another library of grooves in 2 weeks for this as well. So bought earlier today. Thank you for thank you, Bobox. Hands together, head bowed. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Okay. I will see you guys in the next live stream. There will be some videos coming this week for support to show you cool things you can do with Groove Summit. I haven't done the walkthrough video yet. I did a quick introduction video that's up, but thank you. And we will talk to you all soon. Have a creative, fun week. And don't let the groove stop. Keep it going. All right.